Samjaya said, having heard this utterance of Kesava, Krsna, Kiritin, Arjuna, with folded hands and trembling, saluted again, and prostrating himself with great fear, spoke in a faltering voice to Krsna. Samjaya is telling this to Dhritarashtra. The word Kiritin is used for Arjuna. Kirit means a crown, and Kiritin means one who wears the crown Kirit. But this has become a special name for Arjuna that was given to him. Why is this? Arjuna had helped Indra in a war, and at the time of helping Indra, Arjuna had killed some demons, such as Kal and Kanja. After Arjuna killed these demons, Indra was pleased and gave Arjuna a crown as a gift. It was called Kirit. It is written in the Mahabharata that the radiance of this crown was greater than the radiance of the sun. This crown by the name of Kirit was so radiant and so divine. Indra gave this to Arjuna as a gift, and from then onwards, Arjuna became known as Kiritin. If you look at it one way, then Indra is Arjuna's father, and Arjuna is Indraputra, the son of Indra. Always during important events, Arjuna wore this crown given to him by his father, and that is why Arjuna was known as Kiritin. The reason why Arjuna is addressed as Kiritin here is that it says further in this verse, after hearing this utterance of Kesava, Krsna, Arjuna spoke in a faltering voice that kept cutting off. And Arjuna, folding his hands, and saluted the Supreme Soul again and prostrated himself with great fear. When Arjuna had folded his hands, he was trembling a lot and spoke in a faltering voice to Sri Krishna. Three things come in this. Look at this in this verse. First, Vermana, faltering, Bhita, great fear, and Sagat Gatan, trembling. The pranam, folded hands, was already there. Arjuna was faltering, was in great fear, and was trembling. If you study the Gita Ji every day, then you realize that Arjuna had become faltering twice in the Gita. Tremors have come to him. The first time is when? In the first chapter, where Arjuna says himself in the 29th, the 30th and 31st verses that Vepastatus Sharire me Roma Harshascha Jayate Gandivam Samaste Hastat Tvakche Avapariyatyate Nacha Sakonmi Avastannutam Pramati Vachame Mana Nimitani cha pashyami Viparatami Kesava Nachreyo Anupasyami Hatva Swajanam Ahave. My body shakes and my hair stands on end, the bow Gandiva slips from my hand, and my skin too is burning all over. I am not able to stand steady, my mind is reeling, and I see evil omens, O Kesava Krsna, nor do I foresee any good by slaying my own people in this fight. Arjuna did not want to fight. In these verses, Arjuna said, Vepastutcha sharira me, my body shakes. Shri Krishna Arjuna then told the Lord that tremors were coming to his body. Now here, when Samjaya was describing it, Samjaya said, Vepa manaha, he was trembling. In the first chapter, the reason why Arjuna was trembling was different, and now in the 11th chapter, the reason why Arjuna is trembling is different. In the first chapter, the reason why Arjuna was trembling is because of delusion and pity towards his own people. And now in this 11th chapter, the reason why Arjuna is trembling, after seeing the Vishwarup, the universal form of God, is a completely different thing altogether. There are feelings in this after seeing the terrible form, the Ugra Sarup of the Supreme Soul. That is why Arjuna is trembling. Arjuna is having great fear and is speaking in a faltering voice. Srimad Adi Shankaracharya Ji has said a very nice thing while giving his commentary on this verse. He said that if you look at this verse one way, then it's not necessary, and if you look at it another way, then it's very important. Such is this verse of Samjaya. This is because in the 36th verse after this, Arjuna does a stuti, a prayer in praise of God. Imagine for a moment that this 35th verse is not there. In the 34th verse, God tells Arjuna to fight in the war and to win the war, and that Jetasi, Arjuna is going to win the war. God tells Arjuna that he will win the war and that he should fight, Yudhasva. And then immediately, if the 36th verse became the 35th verse, and you take out what Samjaya said in between, then it does not make any difference to the flow of the Gita. We do not miss out on any principle of spirituality and nothing happens. And the flow becomes very nice because God tells Arjuna to fight and Arjuna does a stuti, a prayer in praise of God. It becomes very nice and flowed. Why then did Samjaya say this, and why did this verse spoken by Samjaya get included in the Gita? Shankaracharya gives a very nice answer that in the last verse, the 34th verse, where Sri Krishna told Arjuna that slay Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha and Karna and other great warriors as well, who are already doomed by me. Dronamcha Bhishmamcha Jayadatamcha Karnam, Tatha Anyan Api Yodaviryan. Then Samjaya gives to Dhritarashtra some time to think by saying that, King, you think that Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, all whose deaths were difficult, have all died. What values then does your son Duryodhana even have? Even Duryodhana has been killed, and the result of this war has already been decided. God even goes to the extent to say that Arjuna will win. This means, Dhritarashtra, you understand that the Kauravas, your sons, are going to lose. Do you still think that you should stop the war? Do you still think that in the end you can put a message of peace by saying that no matter what happened, we do not want to fight in this war and we should give the kingdom to the Pandavas? This is the last chance given to Dhritarashtra. The Supreme Soul has taken the form of the Vishwarup, the universal form, and himself is making this declaration. And Samjaya is telling Dhritarashtra that you are blind and I have the divine vision, not a simple vision. I'm seeing that Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha and Karna have already been killed. Do you still wish for the battle to be fought? You still feel like this? Because in my divine vision, I can now see that the future is going to happen in 18 days. And Dhritarashtra, it is still in your hands. You still have the chance to stop the war. But Dhritarashtra, the blind person, has remained just a blind person. He could not see the result that is in front of us. This verse of Samjaya is there just to give a breathing period for Dhritarashtra, and Samjaya is saying this to remind Dhritarashtra. That is why this verse becomes important. It did not have an effect on the Dhritarashtra, and that is that which was seen by Samjaya at that moment happened in reality. Arjuna folded both his hands with an endless amount of humility and does a stuti, meaning a prayer in praise of the Supreme Soul. There are only 700 verses of the Gita, and the 700 are made up of 690 verses and one mantra, which is a mantra beginning from the 36th verse of the 11th chapter. This is a mantra. After seeing the Vishwarup, the universal form, Arjuna was scared at the beginning, but when the Supreme Soul gave clarity as to who he is, what his workings are, and what the relationship between him and Arjuna is, where Arjuna has to become the occasion, then when this happened, the feelings of Arjuna must have changed completely. This Arjuna did a stuti, a prayer and praise, which is a mantra. Let's go to the next verse.